What's up, YouTube? Alright, I'm gonna try this again. 4 times my video had to get cut because of unnecessary things in the background. So I'm gonna try to make this quicker so that way I don't get interrupted again. So I watched Trey57 do a video on dreams and reality and stuff like that. So I wanted to come on because twice I had a really crazy. The first one was very intense. The second one was detailed. And what I mean by detailed is that my dream continued for a week. Now I'll explain once I get to that part. But the first dream that I had, I was in a house with somebody, a man, and I don't know if it was like an orphanage or whatever it was, but it had children in it. So I kept saying to myself, I'm like, oh my God, where's the children? Where's the children? So whenever the man came up to me, he was like, let's go. And I said, I can't go nowhere until we find the children. He was like, we don't have time for that. Let's go. And I said, I'm not leaving anywhere without the children. I can't just leave them. And I don't know if, like I said, I don't know if we worked there or if I don't know. I don't know what the connection was between me and the children or whatever it was. But so I'm like, no, I'm finding the children. So he pulled a gun out and held it to me, like to my face. And I'm like, are you serious? I'm like, all I want to do is find the children. I'm like, if you want to leave, go. But I'm trying to find the children. He was like, no, let's go. And I'm like, no. And I went to turn, and he shot in the side of my face. He shot me. And I woke up. But I felt that intense pressure that it felt like I really actually got shot in my face. So I'm sitting there going, I'm like, I'm thinking I was shot, because I felt that pressure. And it's like that real intense pressure to where, it's like your wisdom teeth is bothering you, and you have that real bad jaw pain and all that. This is what it felt like. So I was telling people about it, and they're like, that's your other reality, you were really there. And I'm like, yeah, I know. So anyway, so that was the first one. Now, the second one, and I'm not going to do, because I had this dream for 6 days, okay? So I'm going to tell you the first two, and then I'm going to tell you the last part, because in between was just my family and I just having a conversation, just talking about, the next steps on, whatever. So I'll give you the most detailed parts. My dad died back in 2013. He had a stroke. And my family and I, once we got the news that they were actually going to pull the plug, the family all gathered to say their final goodbyes and everything like that. So this is when my dream started. I got a call from my sister that she was beating around the bush telling me, because I guess she was just kind of scared and she didn't want to freak me out or anything like that. But she basically was like, are you busy? Can you come over? And I'm like, yeah, I'm shopping. I can't come over. Why? I was 20 minutes away. And she was like, it's Dad. I pushed my whole grocery cart, was completely filled. Meats, everything. I just pushed it. I felt bad because they probably lost a lot of money, but I didn't care. So I headed over there, and I was meeting them at the bottom of the hill because my dad was already in the ambulance getting transported. So I had a friend drop me off, and I got in my brother's car at the bottom of the hill where they lived at an apartment complex. I met them at the bottom of the hill, jumped in his car, and we left. So we got to the hospital, wasn't able to go in right away, it was just my mom and my aunt and uncle. So we're in the waiting room, and we're just pacing back and forth because nobody was telling us anything, and we're like, it's not fair, we should be able to go in there, that's our father. And they're like, well, you're not allowed in there, she said it's only, but I'm like, whatever. So fast forward it, I woke up I got a drink and I went to the bathroom. I laid back down. It picked right back up. It was kind of like, it was like saved. I'll talk about that in another video, but so it fast forwarded to where they made a decision that they were going to pull the plug because he had a stroke, but it was going to paralyze him from the neck down. And basically a vegetative state, he wouldn't have been able to do anything, and he didn't want to live that way. So he said in the papers that he didn't want none of that. So they pulled the plug. Like, we all came in and said our goodbyes before they pulled the plug. Now this is all in my dream. So after they pulled the plug, we all gathered in the waiting room. There was probably like 20 of us that was left. The other family members, they said, their goodbyes, and then they left. So we're all talking, and my phone rang. And I looked at it, and it said Mom and Dad. I'm like, I looked around, I'm like, we're all here. Nobody's at my house. Well, my mom's house, because I didn't live there. Nobody was at her house. And I just went like this, and I showed my sister, and she was like, oh my God. Like, she just like had that dead look to her. And I was like, wow. I'm like, should I answer it? And she was like, yeah. So I clicked it, and it was kind of like white noise, but you can hear like a kind of like breathing in the background, and then it hung up. And I was just like, I didn't even know what to say. She was like, what happened? I'm like, I was stuck. I didn't even know what to say. So we all went back to my mom's house, and I had somebody bring over clothes for me because I was staying for the week. So, now mind you, I'm still dreaming. Well, to you guys, it's dreaming. So I'll keep it at that. I know it's another reality, but I'll just say I'm dreaming. So that was the second time. I woke up, and then I fell asleep, then I woke up, then I fell asleep again, and I woke up again after that phone call. So the next night, I went to sleep again, and I was at her house. I was showing my cousin my phone, and I said, oh my God, cuz, you won't believe this. And I went to go to recent calls, and it was nothing from my mom and dad. And she was like, what? She's like, I don't see anything. And I'm like, oh my God. And I looked over at my sister, and I'm like, it's gone. It's gone. And she was like, because, she said, it was there. She goes, I looked. She's telling the truth. She said, I looked. And she was like, oh, I believe you. She said, that was probably your dad telling you that he was okay. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, I did hear like the breathing and stuff like that. So, like, that was the end of the dream. But, like, in between, like, the only thing that happened, like, in between was just us taking turns going back and forth to visit him and stuff like that. But the one thing I wanted to point out is that I don't know if anybody ever had kind of like tunnel vision. And for you guys that don't know what that is, it's kind of like a bubble. Okay, and you could see it plain as day in between, but everything around it is just blurred. It looks like somebody went like this, and it was just smeared. It was blurred. That's kind of what it felt like every time I walked down the hallway, because it was a really, really long hallway. It was probably like, I would say 30 yards. It was like this really long hallway. But like I was just, in between, it was just that, like, it was detailed, but for me to tell it, like, I'm on 9 minutes, for me to tell it, it probably would have been an hour and a half. But it was crazy, because for me to have that much of a vivid, intense, detailed dream the whole week that he was in hospital, it was kind of like day to day. Okay, so One night I had the beginning of the dream. Okay? And the second night I had the second part of the dream. Third night I had the third part, and then so on and so forth. For 6 days. There's no way that you could tell me that somebody can have the same exact dream for 6 days straight. I know it's possible, but because I lived it. But for if it would have been before that and somebody would have told me that, I'd have been like, that's not possible. But see, the thing is that, back to what I was saying, dreams aren't dreams. Dreams are your reality, just at a different time and place. So if you have like an intense, vivid dream that you really, really feel after you come out of that, what does that tell you? What does that tell you? Did you ever have a dream where you wake up and you're like, oh my God, that felt so real? Because it was. You know, and I've always questioned to whether, like, where I'm at right now, if this is my other reality, and when I go to sleep, that's really where I'm at. It's weird. It's really weird. I know people are going to be like, well, you should be locked up in a cuckoo. No, I shouldn't. I shouldn't. Because if you really sit back and think about it, and it goes to what a couple of us have talked about. Big Bay Day, Big Game James TV, he's on it. When they take, from when you're a baby, you have to be immunized. Immunization shots, I'll just say that. It's mandatory because they want to be able to have control of you from a young age. So for the first 18 years of your life, it's mandatory that you have to have this shot, this shot, this shot, this shot, this shot. You go to the hospital if you're sick, they gotta draw blood. It's ways of keeping tabs on you. Marionettes. We're the puppets. They have full control over us at all times. All times. And it's crazy. But anyway, thank you guys for staying this long in this video. I know it ain't that long, but thank you guys for letting me share that with you guys. Please, if you guys can, smash the like button. Get them likes up. Comment below and let me know if you've ever experienced this, if you've ever had intense, vivid dreams that you can feel when you wake up, or if you've had continuous dreams. You know, I'm not talking about same dream. I'm talking about, like, if something happened to you, if you continued it night after night, something like that. Because I know there is people that dream the same dream twice in a row, but I'm talking about like continuous. Like, say you're on vacation for 3 days and you went to sleep and you did your whole vacation in that dream reality, but dream, something like that, if you guys get what I mean. So anyway, yeah, definitely smash that like button, comment below, and let me know what you guys think of this video. I know it might have been a little bit confusing. I did do the original video earlier in my channel, so if you guys want to go check that out, you guys can. And also subscribe to the channel if you already subscribed, and make sure you hit that bell. I was gonna say hit that bell, so that way you can be notified when I make the next video, which I'm gonna make one right after this because I seen a commercial this morning and I gotta talk about that. Alright, y'all, like, comment, subscribe.